Alright, my opponent is opting for Kyogre Clefairy, which is a lead that I don't think I've ever seen at any point. Welcome back to the Bauer Battle Breakdown, where we learn and grow together. As you saw just a second ago, my opponent opened with Kyogre Clefairy, which is not a lead that I have ever seen before at any point. Now, I feel pretty comfortable dealing with Kyogre, however, I don't feel comfortable dealing with a Kyogre next to a Clefairy. I plan to double up on the Kyogre, fully expecting the follow me to happen, which is in fact what occurs. The damage given by this Thunderbolt is very important. It's not quite enough to do half, so this Water Spout is going to hurt tremendously. Thankfully, both of my Pokemon do survive it. Coco down to its Sash, and Porygon will be able to Eerie Impulse. I didn't want to go for Trick Room because I know that Clefairy is slow, and I want to make sure that I mitigate this Kyogre and get rid of this Clefairy, both as more important tasks than getting the Trick Room up. I attempt to do another Thunderbolt with Tapu Koko and decide to bail out Porygon 2 because Palkia is going to be able to handle this Water Spout, even a full strength one, a lot more handily than Porygon 2 will. This Thunderbolt does crit, but it's not quite enough to bring Clefairy down. Kyogre is going to get another Water Spout going, which brings down Tapu Koko and hurts Palkia a little bit. At this point, I'm down almost 2 entire Pokemon, but I do find myself in a very good position for Palkia to go ahead and Dynamax. I protect with my Calyrex in order to help it weather the next round of attacks. Palkia's Max Quake is going to be really important for helping Calyrex survive some of these key attacks that are coming. The Clefairy does Helping Hand, which I didn't expect it to do, but I guess I should have seen coming. Thankfully, Calyrex does protect, so the boosted Water Spout is not going to do too much, and I'm going to take out the Clefairy while I'm at it. You'll see the special defense boost. Clefairy goes down. Water Spout is not going to hit the Calyrex and is only going to do a little bit of damage to the Palkia. And then Regieleki comes out. And the Dynamax to me seems very obvious here. Regieleki is going to Dynamax. And I decide that instead of trying to set Trick Room here, that I'm going to continue going on the offensive. I figure a Glacial Lance and a Max Quake should be enough to take out Regieleki even in Dynamax form, and I can continue to get those special defense boosts, which are important against all these Pokemon. Until I see Regieleki use Max Airstream. This is something that's only possible if my opponent is using a physical Regieleki. So these special defense boosts are actually not going to be useful against this Regieleki. However, the Max Quake and the Glacial Lance that you're about to see will be enough to take it out, so it is only going to get that one Airstream, except now the Kyogre is faster than my Palkia. As soon as Calyrex Shadow Rider is revealed as my opponent's 4th Pokemon, the alarm bells start going off, and I immediately regret not getting Trick Room up at any point. Now it feels like I'm very vulnerable, where just a second ago, I had a pretty significant advantage on the situation. I swap out Calyrex for Porygon 2 in order to slow down Shadow Rider a little bit. However, thanks to that Airstream, the Kyogre is faster now, and so it will get to Origin Pulse and defeat Porygon before I can do anything else with it. Thankfully, Palkia survives by just a hair, enough to take out the Kyogre. Now I get to put back in my Calyrex, but I'm stuck against a Pokemon that is faster and can KO both of my Pokemon with a fully accurate spread move. At this point, it's over and very, very sad. I will go from 3-1 down to 0-1 almost instantly. You see the Astral Barrage, KO both of my Pokemon, and my game comes to an unfortunate, very abrupt end. Many high-level Pokemon players will tell you that Pokemon is a game of information. What you just witnessed was a game that rapidly fell out of my grasp over the span of about one turn. What I'm going to talk about is how this idea of information gathering could have prevented me from tripping up so badly in the closing elements of this game in order to bring home the win. The first thing I want to touch on is my opponent's Calyrex Shadow Rider. As soon as I saw that, I viewed it as a death sentence and figured that the game was pretty much over for me. However, I could have pretty definitively figured out that my opponent's fourth Pokemon was that Calyrex before I even saw it hit the field. And I should have noticed it as soon as I saw Regieleki as my opponent's third Pokemon. If we look at the team select for this, you'll notice that my opponent has a Sun Core to their team built of Whimsicott and Charizard. So when my opponent led Clefairy and Kyogre, we know that if either of those Pokemon are not part of that Sun Core, it's highly unlikely that they brought the other piece of it. Therefore, as soon as I saw Regieleki as my opponent's third Pokemon, I could have, by elimination, known already that Calyrex was going to be the final Pokemon. Since my own Calyrex moved last on the turn that it did Glacial Lance anyway, I could have set Trick Room and then started the next turn with the Glacial Lance, picking up the same KOs and yet setting myself up for more success and for Calyrex to do more once my opponent's Calyrex comes into play. The second and third point are kind of interwoven, so I'm going to tackle them at the same time. I panicked on the second to last turn and I pulled my Calyrex in favor of Porygon, who ended up getting smoked anyway. But something really important to note is that my Calyrex at the time had +2 special defense and actually would have survived an Astral Barrage from my opponent's Calyrex Shadow guaranteed. Well, guaranteed unless it was Specs, but if my opponent has Specs on their Calyrex Shadow Rider, it automatically loses to Porygon 2 in the end game. There's 2 reasons why pulling out Calyrex in favor of Porygon 2 as a panic was kind of a bad idea. In one sense, it may have looked like my opponent just happened to have the particular Pokemon he needed in order to secure the end game against me, but in a more accurate sense, I should have known exactly what my opponent had in the back because of the information presented to me in the turns leading up to it. And that kind of thinking is exactly how we can all get better at playing Pokemon. Thank you so much for tuning in to this week's Bauer Battle Breakdown. If you're new to this channel and want to see what this series is all about, I encourage you to check out the trailer where I lay out how it all began. That's my time. I'll see you next week.